Now, I've been spending 42 years of my life in stem cell research. In fact, if someone will ask me, who started the stem cell research? In fact, it was the Germans. Those days, they've been using sheep until today. And it spread on to Switzerland, and Switzerland became a famous area. And in 1931, Paul Nihans was well known to the world because he treated pork pies, lying in bed, and he went on to live for 7 years. Okay, but those days, the Germans don't call it stem cells. They call it organotherapy or cell therapy. Okay, again, stem cells in the 70s start to show up, but the Soviets in 1980, with the Institute of Biological Medicine, it was legalized by the government. They used human fetuses. I was exposed to the Soviets. We are talking about the Russian and the Ukrainians. So you now understand why I have Ukrainian and Russian doctors in my team. I have them still in the University of Moscow until today. I still have our colleagues, a number of them in Ukrainian university, and we still work very closely with them. And you see, we have Ukrainian doctors, we have Russian doctors. Of course, we have other doctors all over the world. We have 46 centers around the world, from Villa Medical in Germany, a hospital where we own 100%, to Santorini, to Athens, a medical center, to Lugano. We've been having all these centers. I was the ex-owner of Paracelsus Clinic, Luschmiller, the biggest wellness center in the world. Wellness, okay, has been very popular. It was a center which comes to US in the old days, and we have been training a lot of American doctors where we introduce biological medicine. Or we call it today, I will use the word integrative, because integrative means you have the medical doctors who are MD, but you also use Ayurveda, you also use TCM. You use everything as long as you don't harm the patient. So the word integrative is good to be used. I use it all the time. Although in Germany, you call it biological medicine. Okay, so there's a lot of things you have been learning from others. I spent some years in MIT. I work very closely with the University of California. I work very closely with Heidelberg University for almost 4 decades because one of my mentors, Albert Lansberger, who is the partner of Paul Nihans, comes from Heidelberg University. He just died a few years ago. So there's a lot to learn. We are still funding millions in euro with Heidelberg University and University of California. I only have a basic salary all my life, because you don't need so much money to spend, and you don't have the time to spend sometimes. I work 18 hours a day. Minimum is 16 hours a day, averagely for the last 40 years. Even in the plane, I have to work. This morning, I still work until 6 a.m. I don't even have time to look at my PowerPoint, and I just saw it last minute, and I told my people to do some correction. So there's a lot of things I come to realize I'm blessed, gifted by God in a lot of ways. I was with the military hospital of China. Those days, they used live embryos. I worked with the Japanese, and today is the regenerative medicine of Japanese. We have a lot of doctors, and I took time. I took 4 years to gain the trust of the Japanese doctors. There are Japanese doctors who are down here now today for this lecture, and welcome to everyone. These are some of the centers. We had just a brief introduction. I believe we have done 130 publications. Publications supporting what we have. That is important. You cannot be using other people's publications to support your claims. I don't believe in that. I only believe in using our own publications, products specific to our therapies or products, So again, there was a lot of new things coming up, We did something on Alzheimer's during last month when it was Alzheimer's month, and I just received some good news from Dr. Craig. He's here from US, that one of the good Alzheimer's patients, is improving. And this is not the only one, because I go to US every month treating a lot of Alzheimer's patients and Parkinson patients with wonderful results. Of course, some comes in the later stage. What I'm trying to say is, as long as there are some depletions, you have to do a replacement. It's like giving a substantia nigra for Parkinson. If you don't give the substantia nigra, you can give any types of cells, it will not work, because there was a depletion of substantia nigra. That's the main problem with Parkinson. What about Alzheimer's? It's a frontal lobe problem. So if you don't give the frontal lobe what you expect, it's impossible to treat. Yes, you can use the mesenchymal cells, you can use the exosome. They will tell you we'll go through the blood-brain barrier. Let me tell you, if the brain has a damage, even the stem cells or any peptides targeted at that area of the damaged area, that area will open up. The blood-brain barrier is not totally closed. We have done 2 publications on all this. We can review the publication. A new stem cell book will be coming up, and it's called Stem Cell Untold, because we're going to say a lot of bad things about stem cells. We're also going to tell you a lot of new things about stem cells and a lot of new good things about stem cells. I know some of you are only used to hear that, oh, we only have this type of stem cell. It will turn to all kinds of stem cells. No, they don't turn. They can only turn or differentiate when they are in pluripotent stage. That means they have to be in embryonic stage. And why are we not using the embryonic stage? It's because embryonic stage acts exactly like the cancer cells. They can be cancerous. For that reason, we can't use embryonic cells, apart from ethical reasons. So it's important to understand that fact, okay? It's important. Now, again, when we move down from the movement to organogenesis, or the formation of fetus. That means all the organs has been formed. You know, when all the organs have been formed, the 78 organs has been formed, that means all the cells has been formed. We used to say 220 cells and stem cells in the human body. 2 months ago, we told the whole world there are 400 over different types of stem cells and cells. Of course, we are challenged, but we put everything down, and it's accepted in a journal. It's published out. I was contacted by Reuters and did an interview by Reuters, and Fortune magazine picked it up. Is in the current issue of June and July and August, the current issue of Fortune. You can see they say the man who changed, who mapped the world with the brain cells and also the body. Because 3 months before, I also told the world that the brain has 52 lobes. I know most physicians will say we only have 4 lobes, but we are talking about 52. We subdivide them, and we show the whole world that you have 67 different types of brain cells, and not just a few. So if you want to treat into specific problems, let's look at the stroke patient. Which part of the damage is on the stroke patient? Every stroke patient has different damage. So you target that area, you give a lot of cells on that area, you will do the regeneration of that site. But again, you still have to give the whole brain. It's important. Okay? Again, with stroke patients, do understand they're lying in the hospital or they are on a wheelchair, they're losing muscles. So when you treat a patient, it wasn't just the targeted area. What about the rest of the body? And that guy could be 85 years old. So a lot of organs are also gone, right? So he could also be a diabetic patient. So at the end of the day, you still have to give the islet cells. You have to give maybe even the lung cells, because the lungs start to age at 20. He needs the heart cells maybe. And because he's diabetic, obviously the stomach and intestinal mucosa lining has to be there, because your intestinal mucosa start to age at 50. And it gets thinner, means all the supplements you take or all the food you take will not be absorbed. Can you regenerate the intestinal mucosa? The answer is yes. So there's so many things you have to understand in life. When you treat a person, every patient is individualized. Every patient, no one is alike. You treat 100 diabetic patients at the same time, they're different. You treat 100 autistic children, they're different, because no one has exact problem. But of course, with a diabetic patient, you need the islet cells, for sure. Okay, but one could be also having the nerve problem, one could be having some other things. So it depends on how you look at it and how you treat the patient. You target every area. So in other words, you can't be giving just one type of stem cell, mesenchymal cells, and treat all the body, and hope the mesenchymal cells will turn into all the other cells in the body. My answer to you is you won't turn at all. You will do the stimulation, you will stimulate the surface of the cells, you feel good for 3 to 4 months, but you didn't do the regeneration. You must do the regeneration, otherwise the organ can't be repaired. It is important to understand that part. Of course, there's a lot of new finding that mesenchymal cell did mild regeneration, but my point is, why don't I give you the mesenchymal cell plus 14 to 20 other different types of organ cells? That means you have mesenchymal cells, plus you also have the rest. I'm not pro any kind of therapies. I do human stem cells all along every day. You notice we have 4 labs here. One of the labs is doing mesenchymal cells every day for human. But of course, we also are an expert in xenografts. I believe if you Google xenograft, you notice we have done so much of xenograft. But it wasn't invented by us. It's been there for 180 years in Europe, starting with the Germans. It's been there for a long time. We are not the inventors. It's just that we turn it to the next level. We innovate it to the next level. For example, in the old days, until today, they only use sheep. They may be using a cow, they may be using pig. The reason why I use only sheep apart from rabbit is because rabbit are retrovirus free. That means they don't spread disease to human. And we are using SPF rabbits and sheep. Why? Because SPF means specific pathogen free. They are approved by the US FDA. They are safer than even human because they are free from pathogens, free from bacteria and free from viruses. It's important to understand that. Okay, that will be in the next lecture on safety. So we have been doing lectures around the world. I've been to Tijuana more than 20 times in the old days, and of late, I went to Tijuana 2 years ago. I met a doctor who was with us for 20 years before, and he was still practicing there. Of course, there are some good centers in Tijuana. There are also some scamming ones. In all fields, there are scammers. I have to say that, even on the website, Even with ChatGPT, we cannot get all the full answer because it's only a summarization of everything. I do not pay for front covers. That means it has to be someone is advertising, but I don't pay for it. I don't believe in that. I believe I appear in the front cover of the Foreign Trade magazine of the Chinese Communist Party 4 times as a scientist, and been in NASDAQ feature 2 times as a scientist for Alzheimer's and Parkinson, and also for autism. We have won multiple awards. This is some introduction. We work very closely with Heidelberg and University of California still. We funded all the studies. We funded. European Wellness Academy funded them through our academic change as part of the European Wellness Group. And There's so many things. I believe we have done 8 publications on animals in University of California in USA on type 1 and type 2 diabetes, on dogs. There's so many things we have done, and we released also the first stem cell book for animals, dog, cats, and horses. And of course, we are one of the pioneers to introduce the world's first stem cell book in 2006 for medical doctors. So there's so many things coming. And this is was NASDAQ. I still owe them 2 interviews. I don't have time because of the time difference. I have to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning to do the interview. It's a bit difficult for me when I'm still working with US, with other people, because when you do an interview, you have to dress properly. I'm in pajamas, you know, so that's the problem. But anyway, these are some of the things we have been around the news. We are talking about world news, okay? If the news is coming from yourself, it's not the best news. But if the news is coming from someone to put you up in Bloomberg or other parts, you know, Money Market or Market Watch or whatever you call it, those are important, and it's picked up in Japan, it's picked up in the Saudi Arabia, it's picked up in the Middle East, it picks up everywhere. So recently there was a news on Croto. If you Google Croto, it was invented by the Japanese. A lot of scientists, including 2 research companies in USA, got a grant of $2 billion on research on Croto. But no one released anything commercially. So we are the first company to release Croto to the world recently. You're probably the first person to hear about Croto commercially, and it's available at the counter. So the people who go fast, they will say, and when I release it out, everyone asking, I like the Croto. This is one of the latest longevity remedy, okay, after NAD, okay. So there's so many other things, of course, along the way. We work with sports people. I was with Jerry Maguire, you know, and Lee Stingberg. He say, Mike, you trick me, but no photo, no picture, okay? And the next day, his PA and he himself released in Instagram, I do not know what this Mike Chan do to me, but now I'm the #1 fan of Dr. Mike Chan on his Instagram. You know, that was 3 months ago. And now we are writing a book on concussion. I finished writing the book. And he agreed to put his name there. And we'll be in Super Bowl in maybe end of January or February. I know it's around that date. And we'll be giving a lecture there. It is important. We are talking about 148 million viewers or watchers in that event. Okay, so is there something for sport injury? My answer is yes. Okay, but before the sport injury, let's talk about regenerations of the organ. What do you have with sport injury? It depends. It depends on the sport. But obviously, with certain hard sports, you may knock the brain, then you have a brain damage. It can be a later part. What about your knees? What about your hips? What about your muscles? Everything is coming in. Again, can you have a better sport endurance? Yes, the answer is yes, because we can increase the stamina of anyone, including an older man who needs to perform sex. You need stamina, right? So that you can perform better. Where does the stamina come from? It's like a footballer running half time, you know, but the other half time and then the extra time, he don't run so fast anymore. It's not like the first half. It's because you can't run. Now, the stamina will come from your lungs with a good heart. So you need the stem cells of peptide for the lung and the heart. That is a must for all of us for stamina. Okay, your lungs start to age at 20, your heart start to age at 40. And now the latest study is the heart start to age at 30. So I changed it to 30 now instead of 40. And I did mention your heart at 70 is half the function of a 30-year-old. So you're 70-year-old. How healthy is your heart? You don't have a good heart. And it's only half a function of a 30-year-old. That is provided you don't smoke. But when you smoke or you have other lifestyle, that is a different heart. Okay? So what about the adrenaline rush? You need that too. You need the adrenal cortex. So you want performance, you need adrenal cortex, you need the lung, you need the heart. For sportsmen and all of us, for that matters. Okay? I took care of my heart. I do give myself cardiomyocyte because I'm also afraid of my heart, you know, because it's one of the younger organs to age. And this is what I do with the German government. The Chinese government in Beijing went to Germany looking for the top stem cell expert. And they went in July last year with the Chinese government, with the mayor himself. Okay, they are looking for the top stem cell expert. 2 months later, I received a call from Berlin that I had to fly from Berlin together with the health commissioner and the rest of the team for the German foreign trade. And I was escorted to Beijing and then to Baoding, where the government is trying to move into autism. There are 30 million autistic children in China alone. There are many more in Qatar and UAE, okay? This is with the blessing of the German government. I accompanied the German foreign health minister, the foreign trade, the chairman and the health commissioner. And I was sitting just beside the chairman, facing more than 50 of Chinese officers together with the mayor. They thought I was a translator when the German guy introduced me as German top stem cell expert for autism. And I was appointed after a few meetings, and I brought them to Heidelberg University. Recently, they came to Malaysia to do duty. And recently, I was back from Beijing and Baoding. They launched a 1,000-bed hospital for autism. I'm tasked to lead autism in China. And that is something I love to do very much, and I hope I can do it for my own beloved country, Malaysia, which I left for many years. I spent 30 over years in Germany and Switzerland, more than in Malaysia and in Europe. I hope I can do something here. So these are the people you see. These are our lab people, which you don't see. They are not in the outside, you know. They are all masters and PhD. They are the people involved in research, because you can't just have a clinical team. You need a research team. Today, Dr. Pang, one of our head of researcher, will explain about the mechanism of the stem cells in one of the lecture today. There are many other things too, okay? So we have two big teams here. The clinical team, which are the doctors with all the clinical experience, you know, but then you still need the researchers who provide the statistic and the rest. Even to write a book, you need two parts of the team. It's not just one part. It is important to understand that, okay? I'm so proud to say that I use all the resources I have together with my wife of 46 years in this field. We are together since we are 19. We are both 64. She's lucky, she looks younger than me, okay? And we are still involved in a lot of book writing, because I come to realize the best thing you can give a person is a book or your hard work. They will appreciate. I do not have a problem meeting any prime minister or president of any country, because I say I'd like to present a book to your name. They will gladly meet you. If I say I want to meet you, it's very difficult. So it's good for you to immerse in some form of book writing. I'm willing to work with you guys in your own specialty. I even told Dr. Gisela, she's one of the top aesthetic doctor, Gisela, it's high time for you to write some books. We will go along with you. Now we will put it to the world. You write a publication. If I can get MIT or Harvard or Cambridge or Institute of Heidelberg and get the Japanese and Chinese and put it into one publication, it's different. It's no point to write a publication in Malaysia and put it out. It's not recognizable. But when you get the big ones together, you're different. So you stay with the good ones. I always believe in this field of regenerative medicine, learn from everyone, share with everyone, and stay with the good ones. I always have this philosophy all my life. I'm willing to learn for free. I worked 3 years illegally in Switzerland and Germany for free. Illegally, I use the word. I don't have a salary. I had to share a meal with my wife for 3 years in Germany and Switzerland without a salary. But I'm willing to steal the brain. I use the word steal the brain because whatever my master have, I must get it. I must absorb. Whatever is not something I agree on, I don't. I'm totally against human fetuses as a staunch Buddhist, but I learned from the Soviets that they took the live fetuses, they take the organs from the live fetuses, they extract the stem cells. That is what I learned. My wife is a staunch Roman Catholic, so both of us don't agree to this. But we are taught this way. You have to understand. Okay, master taught you. One of a few masters are from there. But of course, a master from Germany and Switzerland, they say, no, I use the cheap. You know, and then I go to Mexico. Kunal told me the best is sharks. Right in front of my eyes, he slaughtered the shark and take the embryo and inject on the patient. So at the end of the day, I'm getting very confused. The Japanese will say human placenta, okay? And at the end of the day, I try everything. I myself is telling myself, which animal should I use then? Human, animal, or whatever, you know? So I try everything. My conclusion at this moment will be, if you have a chronic patient or a critical patient and he has diabetes, you need the islet cells, you need the animal source. There's no other choice. You can't kill 60 humans for the islet cells. We need 60 fetuses, it's not one. That is a normal dose. When we talk about a quad dose, we need 240 fetuses. Quad dose means 4 times the strength, especially when you treat CKD patient. We need a lot of fetuses. You can't even kill one human. How can you kill 60 or 240 humans? You have to understand that. So I'm not pro-animal, I'm not pro-human. I always say, just do what you have to do and do it best with a good conscience. I will not treat any patient just for the money. I always reject the patient if I think I cannot do my job. But when we take up the job, we are always confident to deliver. That is important, okay? So I always say it's no point to talk about lifespan or longevity, okay? If you don't have quality life, the Americans is always talking about we will live long. We will live to 120 years. I go to all the conferences in US. I have 12 conferences in US a year. I notice everyone will talk about longevity. So I would say longevity, even if you live to 120 or 150, but if the health span is not expanding, it's useless. The health span for the last 20 years remained at the average of 75 years old. It didn't extend from there. But the lifespan has moved up. The lifespan has moved up over the last 50 years to almost 3 times. You live much longer now, right? A lot of us live much longer. But when I look at most of the people we treat, there's a lot of billionaires. I believe I treated 15 billionaires of the world. But I look at all of them, they have all the money, but they never have the quality life. What's the point? What's the point if you don't have quality life? You don't even know what is happening sometimes, or you know what is happening, but you cannot enjoy. Quality life means no pain. Quality life means you know what you're doing. You have a sharp brain. The brain must be sharp. Quality life means you can enjoy and eat what you want. I always say everything is with moderation. If you can't take this, you can't take that because you're diabetic. What's the point? You're not enjoying life. What's the point? Life should be beautiful. Then I heard a lot from the patient, no, Mike, you can say that because you're healthy. We are not healthy. Life is so awful and so it's not beautiful at all. Then I use the word life can be beautiful then. We have to change it. We have to be very positive because you are going negative, even for the patient not to have a faith in the physician. How you expect it to be treated nicely or good? I have to say psychology is needed here. And all the time, all our physicians have to use psychology sometimes. I just give you a simple story. I was in Switzerland. We treat some billionaires in China for the last 20 years. Every year they will go to our clinic in Switzerland or Germany. And one day she brought her son, her only son, and she's 28. She don't listen to you. She don't talk to you. She just play with her computer, his computer. How are you going to go into his mind? But one glance of he playing the computer, I noticed he's playing with he was looking into the Marvel comics and things like that. Okay, I have no idea of what is Marvel at that time. It was in Switzerland, Lugano. That night, I spent 6 hours going through the internet, looking into what is Peter Parker, what is Captain America. The next morning, I say, today I'm going to join you for a movie. A Marvel movie is 3 hours in German. Okay, it's a long one. Okay, with a break. And he said, Marvel, you're sure? Yes. That's how we became friends. You have to become friends with the patient. And the mother was so happy in her life. She never see that the son is listening. So there are always something. I have an autistic child from Florida. She comes here. She's 21, and when she came, she's big size. She has compulsive behavior. Even the father and mother had to listen to him. And he said, I will only come if my child is around. It's very simple, because you win the heart of a patient. And it's eating A to Z in that manner. 3 o'clock will be A, B, C, D. He must finish the A before the B food, before the B food, the C food. How are we going to change him? He was going to put on weight, right? So you have to come up with something. So I came up with something, and he stopped going with A to Z. And our oldest autistic children was 34. I think she came here 1 month ago. Our doctors are all here. We are so happy because this is the 3rd time he's coming for treatment. The mother is the president of Autistic Society. President. She brought the child last Chinese New Year, and she said, Mike, my daughter is 33 years old. I do not know what you can do for her. To me, it's a gamble, and it's because of Dr. Jennifer Lee, who I gave a presentation 6 years ago in American Academy of Stem Cell Physician. The Taiwanese doctor remembered me, and this mother, through Jennifer, sent the brother who is having a stroke, and he recovered well. That's why he sent the daughter now. Okay, and the stroke patient has recovered off wheelchair and walking, and now the daughter came, and she slimmed down more, and she listens. She can sit down and listen. Those days, she don't listen. So we have treated so many autistic children. I would say every month I'm in US, there's a lot of autistic children. I hope to save all these children in my life because I told you I was an Asperger, okay? There is no reason to put them at home, the same for the Down syndrome or those cerebral palsy children. Any autistic children or anyone on wheelchair, I will still hire them in the company here if they can perform. We have to give them a chance. Can all this be accepted by the society? Yes. If you improve on their livelihood, I mean their life, okay, you put some improvement on their health. Can they be improved? The answer is yes. But the only way to save all these children is to have the mass product. The only way to make stem cells come down is mass production. The other thing I like to tell about on stem cell is it's not a matter of multiplying the cells. It's not a matter of going through many passages. The more passages you go through, I know some parties are doing that, most of the parties, because they want to multiply more so they can make more money. The moment you multiply the cells, there's a risk of mutation. So I don't believe in multiplication. So most of the people are doing that. I believe in primary cell tissue culture. There's no multiplication. That means you need a lot of cost there because you're not turning 1 into 100. You only can use 1 for 1, 2 for 2. That is important because we must deliver. So these are some of the tests. Oh, Bawani was doing that when I'm talking, you know. So now I have to go backwards to the original. Okay. It's okay. I can't turn, but it's okay. This is the reason why I was in June the 15th, and she gave me a good testimonial. She's the second richest woman, cell-made woman in the world. She's the richest woman in USA. And for us to treat her is a privilege. And of course, we treated the daughter. And there's so many other things. Okay. So I always say there are 14 hallmarks of aging. There'll be more coming. That means causes of aging. But the main causes in my dictionary will be the stem cells. Why? Because if you don't have the stem cells, how are you going to do regenerations of the organ? You can't. That means your organ cells will get depleted every day. Example, you're losing 10,000 neurons a day after 40. All of us, the next day you wake up, if you're after 40, you're losing 10,000 neurons. And we know in science, all the physicians and doctors are saying now, Mike, there is neuroplasticity. That means your brain can regenerate even at 120. Yes. But the way of regeneration is so far below the rate of degeneration. So you have to understand that fact. It's like a leaking bottle with water pouring out from the bottle of the water, but you're topping up from the top. But if the hose of the bottle is going too fast, that means you're not regenerating still. It's like losing your hair and you can't grow hair fast enough. Then you will lose hair. I'm 64. Like I told you, my hair is still all black. I do have some gray hair, I come to realize, but I don't have a lot compared to many. I lose 60 to 100 strands of hair a day. And everyone is saying, how come you have so much hair? I just trimmed my hair, it was much thicker. And the reason is because I still grow hair. I do the HFR every 3 months. But for someone who want to grow hair and thicken your hair, or even your eyebrow and eyelash, we've done 2 books on this, and done 4 publications, including growing your eyebrow and eyelash, it can be done, okay? As long as you use the right stuff. So what do you use here? We use the female placenta, it has to be female. We use a female adrenal cortex to a certain extent in our formula. We use the mesenchyme, we use the skin, and that we come to realize with different composition, it has been working very well. And that's how we've done with all the publication. And in every event, our books sold the most, and the next product to sell well is actually a hair, surprisingly. Maybe because they look at my hair, okay? So there's a lot of things we have to understand here. Everything can be done? Yes. As long as the organ is not dead, you can do the regeneration. I better switch off the phone first, Okay, it's off. Now, this is something I make it very simple because we also have to think of the layman. If you show something to the doctors or show to the doctors to show to the layman and make it very simple, it becomes very interesting. It's like reading a book without pictures and no color. You will fall asleep. But you see some pictures, some color, it's like a PowerPoint, you see a lot of colors, you become more attracted, right? So because your attention span goes very fast, you don't have a long attention span. So it's difficult for even doctors to sit for one whole day and after lunch, they will start to sleep. Okay? It's common for all of us. We are all human. So if you have good attention spans with good frontal lobe, okay, which is shrinking, apart from giving you the IQ, you have better attention span. And I have to say, after 40, it's not just you losing 10,000 neurons. A lot of things are coming in. Okay? And one of the main things is your eye. You start to lose your vision after 40. All of us. So this is something we have to understand too, okay? So we also have to do the delay in progression of our vision. And again, after 40, the hippocampus, which is for your long-term memory storage. The attention span is with the frontal lobe, okay? Now, the long-term storage, where you have put everything into your CPU. But the whole brain is shrinking, just like all the other organs except the prostate and the heart. So when they shrink, what happens? When they shrink, your memory is going down. You tend to forget something. Just imagine ourselves, our brain, like the branches, the roots of the tree. When it's growing up a plant, the roots will extend below the ground, but as you age, some of the branches are down. Just like the neurons in your brain, the connection is gone, so obviously you tend to forget now. Sometimes you remember the face, but you don't know the name. Sometimes you walk into the room and you realize why I walked into the room. So these are some early indications of brain decline, connection. And 1 out of 64 or 65 is a candidate, 1 out of 4 is a candidate for Alzheimer's or dementia, even with Parkinson. And 1 out of 3 after 75 move into that rate. And by the age of 85 onwards, it's around 40%. So all of us are moving into that part. So you can't retire. You have to have 2 hours of critical thinking every day. It doesn't matter. You can retire fully, but still you need 2 hours to do some critical thinking to exercise your brain. Your brain needs exercise. It's not just your heart, okay? Even brisk walking do something for the brain. So coming back to the stem cells, you're born with 37.2 trillions of live cells in your body. There'll be 1 stem cells over 10,000 live cells. You have a lot of cells in the body, and you also have 1 out of 10,000. 1 stem cell out of 10,000. Just imagine the stem cells as the queen bees. The cells are the bees. Which one are better? Of course, the queen bees. But the moment you're born as a baby, although you're not born with cancer cells, there are some children acquire cancer cells or baby at a very early age. We grow so fast and we are saying, wow, our baby is growing very fast. We are very happy. Actually, it's aging very fast too. Okay, by the age of 18, you only have 45% left of your stem cells in all your organs. We are talking about, in general, 70 over organs. So the 70 over organs, every organ's stem cells is depleting. If any of those organs don't have a stem cells, it will never regenerate anymore. That means the organ will fail. And if one organ fails, it will affect the other organs. So it's important to make sure all the organs work synergically together. It's important. Okay? So coming back to 30, you only have 25% left of your stem cell. 25. Crazy. Okay? Now, what about, she's asking me to wrap up, do you want to wrap up early? Now, coming back to 60, you only have 5%. My mother is 93. She still dressed elegantly. She liked to be on heels. She liked food. She liked to pose for pictures more than anyone in the family. So that is good life in my opinion. Okay? She loved to shop. And I brought her to Shenzhen in December. She shot 80 kilo. I was flying Air Asia, the cheap flight. And I had to pay an expensive overweight luggage of 60 kilo. Now, on the other side, I was thinking, thank you, Mom. Okay, you never give me a burden. You've never been to a hospital for a night. That is wonderful life. I'm lucky in that sense, okay? And moving up to all this is another figure. I drafted out. And I come to realize all of us will have a date in the hospital as you age. We are telling all the patient all the time, but don't go in too early, cut the frequency and cut the duration. Okay, go at a later time. We can't stop everything because all the organs are coming down. We can only delay and delay and delay all the time. In general literature, we always use 78 organs, but in actual fact, it may not be 78 for the male and the female because they have different organic parts. Okay, so basically the important thing is there are 400 over different types of cells and stem cells. That means to say you can also have 400 over different types of peptides, but you can also have 800 types of peptides when you do combination. Remember, Dr. Glenn was talking about the combination in the morning, okay, with SPMCE. Again, with diabetic patient, I can give you a peptide of LPP-SIMKE. What is that? Liver, pancreas, placenta, stomach, intestinal mucosa, kidney, and the eye. So it's a 7-in-1. So there's a lot of things we can go with this. Okay, so again with the brain, let me tell you what is the most concerned part for myself and my family. I targeted 2 areas. Number 1, I'm so afraid of cancer. Okay, and cancer come to us after 60. In women, 1 out of 2 are high risk, and in men, 1 out of 3. Can you avoid that? It's not easy either. Just have to know it early and tackle it early. Okay, because the immune system has been totally compromised because the thymus gland, you heard it from Dr. D, you heard it from Dr. Margarita, that about the thymus or thymic peptides. Okay, of course, you can give you the thymus cells or the thymus stem cells, which are even better, the stem cells than the peptide. But do understand, it's born bigger than the heart as a baby, but after 25, it starts to shrink. After 65, you only have particles. That means you don't have much left. Okay, again, the other part of the immune system is your gut. Your gut has more neurons than your brain. So you have to make sure you have good gut, because you don't have good gut means you're not healthy. Any food into your body after 14 hours is a toxic, it has to be removed. You must have bowel movement every day, okay? But as you age, you have constipation problem. So you need to take care of your gut. You need the stem cell of the intestinal mucosa plus the stomach. Okay, 5 minutes left, okay? So the brain timeline, the next thing I will always say is the brain. So I give myself the frontal lobe because I need to have best focusing power and attention span, and it's also for your IQ. Your IQ is also dropping as you age. So frontal lobe is very important. And I need the whole brain because all part of the brain is going down. Sometimes when you age, you realize a person don't walk straight. He walk like this, and he will fall, like our father or mothers or grandmothers. Why? Because the hippocampus is shrinking after 40 by 5% every decade. Every decade is shrinking. So that means it's going small, and then you will fall even if you don't want to fall. So you also have to take care of the hippocampus. It's not just for long-term memory. It's not just for emotion. It's for balancing. So this is some of the timeline we have done for aging. And our next publication to the world is this. Okay, I'm showing you for the first time. It's not even published yet. It'll be published soon. Okay, next week maybe. We gather all the organs of the human body. We gather all the female parts. We gather all the human parts. And we gather them and show it in a chart. So when you tell a patient, when you want to explain something, by showing some pictures, it's easy for anyone to grasp it, right? So it's so easy. So I always think you need to explain in a very simple way to a patient because he is not a doctor, So this is one good way to show. There will be a publication on all this. We have full rights to use all this, including the picture, okay, as long as you're part of the team here. Now, so if you look at all these parts, which part tell you will live to 120? No, none. Okay, and some is alarming. You're talking about skin at 18, eyes at 40, penis at 40. The penis is shrinking for the male. The sexual organ is also going down. This is not something we want. And every man will say, oh, I'm still good, I'm how good, how good. Now, let me tell you how good a man is. If he pee, you will know. If he pee fast, spraying around like a child, that is his power. When he have a drip, there's no power anymore. Can you make them more powerful? The answer is yes. You can do that. Can we make an old man become wilder? The answer is yes. Can we do the same for the woman? Yes, of course. It's something to do with the pituitary, with the hypothalamus, with the liver, with the adrenals, with the gonads, of course, and with the placenta. So that's the reason why Margarita says something about male and female fertility, okay, and also revitalization, okay. And I would say all diabetic patients will have erectile dysfunction. So again, you heard about Dr. Oha talking about the heart, to take away the fatty deposits. It's important because we will build up of fats. Your heart essentially is yellow color on the outside most of the time. It's not darkish red anymore because it's filled up with all the fats, okay? And what about the liver? What about the visceral fat on your waist? Didn't you realize Sylvester Stallone is 80 years old? He's still muscular, but he has a big waist. Why? The visceral fat is there. Is it easy to take away the visceral fat? No. Of course, there are some special devices. Of course, you can do that with a Plex. You can do that with the Plex infusion and the capsule, and that's what we do. I take 7 meals a day. I'm always hungry within 2 hours. I don't stop eating. I never exercise. It's not that I do not want to exercise. I don't have the time. Okay, and I come to realize I still maintain a stable weight of 65 kilo for my height. And I think it's a good sign. I've been maintaining it for years. Everyone say, Mike, you're crazy. The way they see me eat, they will be surprised. I take 2 plates and 3 soaps at home. I was eating with a number of you in the evening, and then I go back and stay up to eat. It is because I burn fast. You put on weight is because you have low metabolic rate or you have a hormonal imbalance. So we have to fine-tune your hormones, and Margarita is one of the experts in this. And in terms of raising your metabolic rate, you do need a placenta. You do need a good flow. Again, you need good circulation for the male because the penis needs all the blood circulation. Again, you need good circulation for the brain because it's carrying the oxygen to the brain, Without oxygen, the brain can't survive. You know that. So the brain, with 67 different types of brain cells, we can target every part of the brain. That is very different. Okay, you want to treat substantial, you want to treat Parkinson, you give a strong dose of substantial nigra. But he's also aging, he's floating, you give the hippocampus, but you at the same time give the whole brain. Again, he's diabetic, you probably need you need the pituitary and the hypothalamus. This is excluding the other cells you give. At the end of the day, you may be giving 20 over different types of cells, of organ cells to one patient and not just one. I know a lot of doctors are writing to me, Mike, so many cells. Now let me tell you, your body can accept it because they're not going to one place. They go to different place. You don't expect the hepatocyte to go to the heart. They never go. Because all the 400 or different types of cells have different blueprints, like I say in the morning, and they means to say they have different proteins, they have different molecules, they have different amino acid sequences, they have different rate of transcription, different rate of different transcription factor, and different rate of glycation. And remember, I say in human, just like all of us, even for twins, you have different blueprints too. You don't have the same fingerprint, you don't have the same thumbprint, you don't have the same tongue print. So it's the same here. So don't expect an A to treat A to Z. An A should be for A, an A6 for A6, a B7 cells for B7 diseases, and a Z10 for Z10. So you can understand now, you need to give specific cells or specific peptides. Otherwise, it don't work well. It don't work well at all. Through our experience, when we give specific, we see wonderful results. Okay? And for some, they don't see the result. They say, hey, how come I don't see the result? How come the other one see the result? Everyone is different. Of course, you're younger, you have a better result than the older one. The older one degenerates so fast. You give the cells, it may degenerate. Now, I just tell you my simple example. I give stem cells to my cells every year. But once in a while, I realize my testosterone is coming down. So I will give the testes, okay? And once in a while, I realize I'm losing muscle. I can give the muscles. Or I give the testosterone too. I do not believe in exogenous hormones. I believe in the endogenous hormones because your body has all the hormones. The pituitary gland is the master gland. It can do the magic and fine-tune the rest. Exogenous hormones or BHRT or whatever you want to call it will be the last resort, in my opinion, when you don't have other choice. Then you have to go with the last resort. Okay? So that's how we go with it. So again, with the islet cells, this is so important. I love to treat diabetic patients very much because I'm so confident to bring down the HbA1c. I remember we treat a celebrity who is very famous, and he had high sugar level. By giving the islet cells, it went down. He was totally blind, and he's seeing with one eye. Totally blind for 6 months. By giving the retina, optic nerve, occipital lobe, and the frontal lobe, he starts to see plus the placenta. So it depends what you want to do for the eye. You can't just give one type of cells, impossible. So it's the same for eye disease, glaucoma or retina pigmentosa. Okay, there's a lot of things now. Just look at the liver. There's 75 cells in the liver. It's a dustbin. It's not just a filter. All the cells survive in the liver. When you give the whole liver, it's everything. But if I give specific the hepatocyte, I really target the real regeneration. This is the only cells in the whole liver cells which do regeneration. The rest is not going to do anything for the liver. So why are you giving it? Because in technology, we only have this in the PSC, the 6-star. We don't have it in the 5-star. Okay. So that is the difference between a 5-star and 6-star. When you say the FOC is the frozen cells, but in the frozen cells, there are some 5% of cells, stem cells, not 100%. PSC is 100%, precursor stem cells. So again, with other organs, again, I have to say what works and what don't work. There's a lot of comparison. Of course, the stem cells work better than peptides. And I can tell you the peptides work better than the exosomes. I can tell you that. I did tell you that the exosomes is 50 to 100 kilodaltons. The NOP is 2 to 3 10 kilodaltons and below. It's very small. Okay, and the molecules are very small, 2 to 3 nanometers. And I did tell you that the skin is 50 to 75 nanometers, and the world's smallest virus is 27 nanometers. So you imagine how small they are. So it's important. The MO, we are the only one in the world to introduce the MO until today. We are the only one who have this. So the MO is important. If everyone says stem cell will regenerate and turn into all types of cells, my answer is no, unless you are embryonic cells. So the big one is targeted regenerations. You have to target each organ. So how do you know which organ is functioning and not functioning? Look at the pathological test of a patient of the last 3 months. Everything is there. And of course, you have to look into the tumor markers. If someone is with a high tumor markers, you want to give the stem cells? I'm afraid you may do a stimulation. What is stem cells? Stem cells are cells with high metabolic rate. And you're giving the cancer cell, which is already having high metabolic rate. And please understand, you're talking about cancer cells. What about cancer stem cells? They are the stem cells of the cancer cells that are even stronger. So don't play with the cancer patients. So we will give the thymus peptide. Strong dose of thymus peptide through my experience working wonderfully well. If you are still around here on Wednesday, tomorrow there's a Vietnamese lady. She was sent home to die with only 3 months to live. She had lung cancer and brain tumor. And the hospital said she only had 3 months. When I pass it to my physician, my team of medical doctors, everyone say, don't touch. She came here, I give her the hypothermia. I give her the GC-MEF. We gave her the thymus. And she just sent a message last week. She said she want to come down and thank us. Her tumor has shrunk, brain tumor, and her lung cancer is improving. You will see her on Wednesday if you're around. Right with your eyes, you will see her. Of course, there's another one on Wednesday, a Parkinson guy who is a chief CID chief of Malaysia for many years, and the deputy inspector of police. He went all over the world for his Parkinson. No one did the job. We did it for him, and he's so thankful until today. Okay, because none of them give the substantia nigra. Everyone only give the mesenchyme. It's not good enough. Okay, time's up. What work? You have to go into specific. It has to be an A for A or A1 for A1 or A6 for A6. This is very, very important. Bawani is chasing me to finish up, you know. Okay, all right. So, okay, I go fast. I always believe in this. This has been with Chinese medicine for 7,000 years. Like treats like, similia similibus curanto. It is important to understand the curanto is E, it's not U, okay? It's a mistake done by my staff. Okay, like treats like, because all the cells have different molecule. You want to help the liver, you have to give the hepatocyte. You want to treat the pancreas, you need the islet cells. That's how we work, okay? But this is not something only from me. As you notice, it came with Paracelsus in the 15th century, the Swiss doctors, and then he came up with Samuel Hahnemann's in homeopathy. You know, it's widely accepted until today. We own a biopharmaceutical plant of 46 years, producing a lot of homeopathic products. They are considered as drugs in Germany, but in India, it's freely approved. You know, India is a country which is vegan, and it has been there for many years. I do believe a lot in plant too. Okay, I spend a lot of time with plant. I love plant. I have a plant in every corner of my house, including the toilet. Okay, now real plant, not the fake ones. Now, a lot of things we can show in the fetal stage. Do understand, in the fetal stage of all animals, including man sitting on top of the animal kingdom. All the cells, all the 400 different types of cells of all the 78 organs of all animals, including man sitting on top of the animal kingdom, they are alike. That explains why even with blood infusion in the hospital, you are taking from another patient, your O type, he can accept any type of blood from any patient. There's no rejection. You're actually transferring stem cells to his body from another patient. Was there any rejection? No. And again, why fetal stage? If someone will ask me, what is the best cells? I will say the cells before it's out from the mother. Why? Because the cells before it's out of the mother organ, they are unused. None of the cells are used. So that means to say they are totally fresh. It's like a stomach, nothing went through the stomach because the placenta is doing all the job. Okay, the nutrients and the excretion. But when it's out from the mother, it's because the mother kicked out the baby because the mother can't stand anymore. is still a foreign element in the stomach, in the womb. So it had to be kicked, sorry, not stomach, womb. It had to kick up. So the baby sucked the milk of the mother, and the virus and the bacteria enter. This is where allergenic reactions comes in. There's no allergenic reactions in very minimal when it's in the fetal stage, and that's the reason why I use the fetal cells. If someone say what is the best cells to use, I always tell you it's the fetal cells. Because organogenesis has been formed, all the limbs has been formed, all the organs has been formed, okay? So these are some of the micrograms. We have thousands of them. We do a lot of research because we have vet in our team. Even in Kota Kinabalu, we have 2 full-time vets in our team to do research. We have to do a lot of research. So again, with the DDR concept, I can give a tour to the clinic on the 3rd day, or maybe this evening if you want to. We can show the clinic of what we do. We are also a very fully equipped machines all the time with all the devices. So there's a lot of things here. This is important for you to understand. I do not pro any parties. I do not pro any therapies. I only want to deliver. So if someone asks me a simple thing, this is what I would say. Because everyone is very confused, and they're also getting you confused. Which one works better? Exosome stem cell, what type of stem cell? It depends. And also it depends what patients you are treating, what kinds of patient. So this is only a simple thing, and I put it our stem cells. But basically, we do everything. Okay, we've been doing dendritic cells for 25 years in the past. But of course, now with new technology, you may not need the dendritic cells. So the human materials are important, the animal is important. It depends. We also have the peptides, that means the plant and the myco. There's a lot of medicine with the myco. The Japanese and the Chinese have been doing a lot with myco, mushroom. But in Germany, there's also a place where they do a lot of research on myco. And I spend a lot of time on plant and myco. Okay. So all the animals are SPF, BSE approved. We are talking about 1.6 or maybe to 3.6 billions of stem cells. So don't tell me you're taking 2 millions of stem cells from your blood, and then they spin off, they do something and put it back as 200 million, and you're so happy you have 200 million. What's the point? If that patient is a diabetic patient at 60, he's also getting an old cells of 60, or even older, because most of us have an older biological age, like chronic age. So the point is, it's no point. It's no point to have a quantity of cells when the cells quality is not there. The quality of the cells is important. Why am I so worried about the quantity? With divisions and multiplication of cells, the cells will multiply when they go to the body. Don't let it multiply on the outside, multiply in the inside. Because when it is inside, you will do more regeneration. So it's important to understand in that. All cells survive for 72 hours, but the brain cells within the 12 hours is very important. Okay? Cells need a media to survive. So if someone say, I give you a stem cell capsule, I give you a stem cell cream, I give you a stem cell lotion, there's nothing like this. Because all cells to survive need water, they need oxygen, they need nutrients. It's like a baby. You need to eat. But when the baby starts to eat, it also excretes. So when you take the cells and travel on a long distance, the excretion is going to intoxicate the media. So the cells die not because of the food, it die because of the toxin in the water or in the media. Okay? So the closest or fastest you inject the cells, the better it is. So I'm just giving you a simple example. I told you I'm not pro on any kind of stem cell. I only want to see what kind of stem cell is suitable for you. I can be injecting mesenchymal cells on this side of the buttock, and I will inject the animal cells on the other buttock on the same day, but not with the same stretch. Okay? It's just like the other doctor was telling you just now, Dr. Glenn, don't mix the NOP with the MO or with the plasma, PRP. Okay? The PRP can go its own, but all the MO, different types of cells, can be in one stretch. Same for the MO, because they're all of the same molecules. That is important. Okay, I have to go a bit faster here. These are autisms. These are all found in the book. Today, whatever you buy from the book, there'll be extra discount. Okay, there will be also extra discount for all the products you buy today or tomorrow. Okay, or day after tomorrow, if you're leaving. They come with an extra 10% discount from what you're buying all the time. Okay, this is something extra from us. Because you make an effort to come is important. There's around 15 nationalities there. I know there are 30 over on online. They're recorded online, because they can't come last minute, it's online. So these are some of the things we have. We just finished another book on a compendium of diseases, of 200 over diseases. We give the recommendation of all the different diseases. So you can think of any diseases, we probably have it there. And the book is coming, it's on the way. Okay, we spend a lot of time on book writing, on research. Stroke patient, it depends on which part of the stroke. I have always mentioned that. So it depends. Cerebral palsy, again, we have 3 types. So it goes on and on. Okay, when it comes to autoimmune, I would say you need immunotherapy. So everyone asks, you treat Yolanda Hardik. She was the right person who wrote the book. She came here a few times. She's coming again in the next few months. Okay, she has Lyme disease. She went around the world, including in Germany, and all over the world, she couldn't find the best results. So I asked her, for the last 20 years, you've been going around all the hospitals. Which is the center you see the best result out of the 20 old years you travel? She said there's a hospital in Germany I went to. It was called Villa Medica. I didn't know she went there because she didn't put her real name. Okay, and she didn't know it's my center. I'm the owner of Villa Medica in Germany. Okay, and then we are both surprised. Okay. Then she asked me a question, which is the center you will see the best result for me? I say, you have to come to Kota Kinabalu because we are the most equipped center here. It's 60,000 square feet. You see a lot of lab here. You see the cells within 15 minutes, we inject the cells for you. 15 minutes. Of course, the cells are stronger. When you take the cells from one place, let's say from Europe to USA, it's already 20 hours. Please imagine the transit hours in the plane waiting time. Okay, so a lot of things is important. When it's critical, you do it, especially when it involves the brain, it's better to be as fast as possible, unless you set up a lab there. When you set up a lab, then you can change the media. Okay, if you don't have a lab, you can't change the media. Okay, all right, so this lady is 55 years old. She was here a week ago with her family. She comes 3 times a year. Every quarterly, her next trip is in January. Every Chinese New Year, she's down here. She bring her whole family. Her husband, third husband, is a 14 years gap difference, so she had to maintain very well. Her daughter is 30 years old. She's 55. Husband is 42. Okay, so it's not easy to maintain, but she kept herself very well. She's a Canadian. And this is a memento from Sir Elton John for what I did, you know, making him from totally blind to one eye. You can see. Of course, we can move further, but retina damage to medical doctors is irreversible, just like the kidney. And imagine he's seeing now. He can read the footballist, he can play the piano, he can play a lot of things, where in the past he can't. So this is something we have done, almost impossible. And I always say that impossible are possible if you use the right approach. If you give the wrong cells, it will never work. He has tried all the stem cells in the world, but no one gave him the optic nerve or occipital lobe. We are the only one who gave him that. And he didn't start with the stem cells. I received a call because his friend, David McDavis, was the first guy who brought a car to China in the 80s. He was totally blind. He recovered back with one eye, and he's improving still. He's from Dallas. And then they heard of him, and then that's how I got the call from David Furnish. He said, I heard you treat David McDavid, you know. He was totally blind, and now he sees with one eye. Yes. And I look at the file of Elton with my team. I say, why don't you try the eye drop first? Because I want to make sure I don't want to waste his money. He used the eye drop for 17 days, which cost him $148 for a customer. And start to see images. I say, right time for us to come. So we treated him in January the 14th, and then we have another one in April. Okay, so that's how we deliver. Do not treat a patient if you can't deliver. I believe there are 3 members of the Fast and Furious teams which have come to us. I cannot show everyone, but Michelle did post on the internet. She did the stem cells in our centers in Germany, which was wonderful. Okay, so this is a good appreciation from Dinah Hendricks, and I feel so happy to have this because it's a memento for her, and it's a privilege to treat her. She's 78 years old. Okay, so you still can look good at what age you are. This guy is 71 years old, and both of us realize we are both younger as years goes by. A lot of my staff is saying, Mike, you're younger than 15 years ago. And when we look at the picture of what we did here, I come to realize we look much better than before. So you can reverse aging, like I say 6 to 18 years now. I used to say 60, now yes, 18 is because I check my own biological age at 46, which is good for me, for my organs, you know. So as long as you do a reversal, and you have to replenish the stem cells all the time, the right type of stem cells. So you are like a leaking water again, a bottle of water, but there's some holes, it starts to leak, so it will go down. But you continue to refurnish, you continue to pour in more. That means you continue to go back to the level. Okay, you can't go back like before. You cannot be 30 or 20. You cannot be 25 years old forever or 30 years old. Impossible. But it is important to reverse some biological age. Okay, so this is a Jerry Maguire. He say no picture, nothing. He posted, and now he say, Mike, let's do something together for concussion. He's a chairman of concussion in USA. See, he said, come to the Super Bowl. I say, oh, what is the Super Bowl? I don't know. Okay, he said, come. Okay, and I'm rushing a book. I finished the book. Within 3 months, we finished the book for him. So I said, you have to add a chapter as a co-author. And he said, yes. So this is a movie with Tom Cruise, okay? There's a lot of people with brain injury. It may come in the later part if you're a sportsman. So these are all the testimonials for autism. There's so many of them. So many that we lost count, okay? And we continue to treat. There's many testimonials in the website. Please feel free to use them. As long as you're using our products or remedies. Feel free, you have a right to use them, okay? Of course, I also have a bad situation of people using our name and our product, our videos and pictures, but they use some other products. That is bad for us. There's a misrepresentation. I'm facing this problem in some countries, okay? Now, this is what I did for an MIT colleague. She sent this to me. I didn't send to her. She was 44 with 2 children. She became younger with 33. And the next round, she became younger at 22. It amazed me myself. She's a mother at 42 with 2 children. You know, so can you be younger? The answer is yes. So it depends on your lifestyle, okay? And it depends on your exposure to the environment, okay? There's so many things here. This is a wonderful news from Dr. Michael McGuinness. She's from Las Vegas. She's from LA. She sold on his business. It's because I was in 2018. I gave a lecture in a conference in San Diego, California. I say the organs can be regenerated. So he challenged me on this, okay? And he's off dialysis until now. 2018 until now is off dialysis. This was posted onto YouTube. 70,000 people contact us. 70,000. So everyone expect fantastic result. It depends. Because damage to the kidney could be autoimmune. It'll be more difficult to treat with autoimmune than from diabetes or from the heart. Okay, and you always involve the rest of the other organs. This is a wonderful news. He's still sending patients. He became our business partner in Ecuador. Our business partner. So he's representing me in Ecuador. And he continued to send patients to us. Okay, and he also treats in Ecuador. So there are many things. This is a diabetic patient in US some 20 years ago. Good testimonial because they come from Australia and US. Okay, so many others. I can give the PowerPoint to all of you. You just text me, I'll get it. This is from America, okay, a difficult child. You know, we have a lot of compulsive behavior children who can get violent, okay, with autism, and they don't sleep 5 days to 6 days a week. The father and mother is getting depressed too, you know. So there are so many other things we have done, and the testimonial can all be gathered all over the place. This is also a chief police commissioner of Perth, you know, and no one believed he went on to live for many years, you know, and it's a wonderful story because he's the chief police commissioner. This is the second police commissioner we treat, you know. This is another big case, a billionaire, where the wife left him. He's a billionaire, but the wife left him because the wife don't want to suffer with the luxury. Okay, he went on to recover, and no one will believe what he did. He's Parkinson, okay, and he continued. Nowadays, he's so good that he travels around the world. He has a quality. There's so many news. This guy will give the testimony. The second slot, I make it shorter. Okay, he's down here. He's coming today, and if you want, he can give you his testimonial day after tomorrow. So he can improve on these children. Look at the Down syndrome children, the boy. The boy is 9.5 years old, coming for treatment, and at 1 year later, his whole face changed. Your face is your IQ. Your face tells a lot about your IQ. Okay, we are not saying you have to be a handsome or beautiful face. So look at all these child, the face change. You know, that is important. You can treat Down syndrome, you can take any other children or any other people with neuro problem. Okay, so these are some of the news we have. These are American liver cancer patients in Florida. When we treated him, he gave his testimonial. And there are so many others we have done. I believe this is sent home to die. He was due for liver transplant and is off transplant now. Okay, there's a lot of QR code there. This is a right-hand man of Nelson Mandela, blind, totally, and start to see. Right-hand man of Nelson Mandela, who came here. This is Australian, paid by the Australian government insurance, a 14-year-old child. So many, okay? I'm ending because I'm being chased, you know. So there's another lecture. These are all the horses I treat in Malaysia. They are champion horses, and they're left behind because the owners forgot about the goodness they brought. There's many horse owners like this. They're old horse, they put aside, and they are all dying and with injury. I did a number of them, okay? And they all recover very well, okay? It may not be just a stem cell, it could be any other things, okay? Now, you need more information, capture this and write to me. My job is to provide technical information. We are involved in all the formulations. So you want to talk about formulations, I believe we are the right people to talk about formulation because we are the researchers, we do all this. And then we have a great team of clinicians for 40 over years. Imagine you're 40 over hospitals, so you have many doctors who work for you. And we learn from everyone, and we learn from you too. Let's share together. Thank you so much. I hope you like the lecture.